welcome back to another edition of Homemade. And today we are making fried chicken. Now, I have drumettes in here, but if you want to do this with whole chicken, and when I say whole chicken, I mean just the regular size, leg quarters, whatever you want to use, it works just the same. It's fried chicken. So let's go ahead and get started because, again, this recipe is super easy. In my fryer, I already have just my regular canola oil heating, and once it tells me that the oil is heated enough, I'll go ahead and put it in. If you're doing drumettes, they do cook faster than your regular size piece of chicken, so just be mindful of that. If you'll notice, I did not season my chicken because all of my seasonings will be in my breader. We're going to make a slurry for this chicken. And I know some people say slurry, some people say batter, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna make that for our chicken, and we're going to dip our chicken into that before we place it in the breader. Once we place it in the breader, if you'll notice, I have my cookie sheet with my wire rack here. We're going to sit the chicken on there before we place it into our fryer. After we place it into our fryer and the chicken is done cooking, we are going to place it on another cookie sheet with a wire rack, and that is to let the chicken cool down before we eat it. So let's go ahead and we're going to start off. I'm just going to start mixing my breader, and in here I do have 2 cups of self-rising flour. I have 6 tablespoons of cornstarch. Seasonings, I have 1 tablespoon of bouillon. I have a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of garlic powder. I also have a tablespoon of Cajun seasoning, 1 tablespoon of lemon pepper, and I have maybe like a 4 teaspoons of salt. Now, I will say this, I like to mix my seasonings before I put them into whatever I'm cooking, because you can taste them and see if your seasoning is too salty, if it needs a little more salt. So remember, your Cajun season and your bouillon already contain salt, so you don't want to overpower your seasonings with too much salt. And our goal, honestly, is to get flavor, and sometimes we mistake flavor for salt. Now, salt is okay in its own essence, but sometimes you can flavor something and it not contain a lot of salt and be just as good. So we're just going to give that a quick stir. Make sure everything is mixed in there. For our slurry, we're just mixing in 1 cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and we're going to use 2 cups of water. And that's cold water. And you want to mix it until you don't have any lumps. It's going to give you a buttermilk consistency. I already washed my chicken and put it into the bowl. You do want to make sure that you're washing your chicken. I'm going to go ahead, put my gloves on because I am dealing with raw chicken. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take about 4 pieces of chicken, 4 or 5 pieces of chicken, put them into my slurry. This is one of those wet hand, dry hand dishes. So I'm going to shake it off, throw it into my breader, move it around a little bit, tap out the excess, and I'm just going to set it down. And you'll do that with all of your chicken. And this breader and slurry mix, you all, it actually makes a lot of chicken. I'm actually doing 36 drumettes. So you can see it does a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and finish breading my chicken and we'll come back. Our fryer should be ready to receive the chicken, and we're going to start putting it in. Our fryer is ready to receive our chicken. I'm just going to remove the lid. And I'm going to put about 8 pieces in there because it can hold quite a few. So what I'll do is I'll put the first 6 or 7 in there. And then once I let my fryer down into the grease, I'll add about 2 more pieces. And the reason that I do that is I just don't like for it to be jumbled up when I'm putting it in there. So we're going to let that cook for a few minutes. It is going to indicate when our chicken is ready. The light will go off, but I still like to test my chicken before I remove it from the grease. So we'll let that cook. We're gonna go ahead, finish breading the rest of our chicken, let that rest, and then we'll finish frying all pieces. Our chicken has completed the frying process, and you all look at that golden brown color. We did not marinate this chicken. We did not put it in a brine. We didn't do any of that. We washed this chicken and we went straight from the sink to the batter to the bread. We let it rest on our wire rack for about 3 minutes before we put it into our hot grease. And you all, this chicken, it is so crispy and it's still hot, so I am going to be careful. Yeah. This right here. The chicken is good. You can taste the flavor of all of our spices, and it is not overpowered by any one spice. It is great. It is awesome. So, when you do fry this chicken from this recipe, make sure you drop your pictures and your comments in the comment section below. I want to see your fried chicken. Let me know what you liked about the recipe, what you didn't like about the recipe. Even if you would change something, let me know. I know I didn't say it earlier. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our channel if you want to keep seeing our easy homemade recipes. Remember, cooking is as easy or as hard as you make it. But if you keep it simple, just be yourself, life in itself can be so much easier. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Homemade. And until next time, continue to be great.